Our next speaker, Mr. Jerry+Funck. Jerry's a registered professional agricultural engineer. His formal training from Texas A&M University. He worked for the High Plains Underground Water Conservation District as an engineer for 15 years, and currently is the owner and president of Professional Water Management Associates, a overall irrigation company. He certainly comes to us with plenty of field expertise, formal training, and practical expertise. I've not heard him speak publicly before, but he comes highly lauded, so let's have high expectations. I'd like to welcome Jerry up.
I was one of the guys when I was at the water district that was actually a big opponent of drip irrigation when I first looked at it. The original systems that we put in back in like 1989, if you looked at what the cost per acre was, it was higher than the cost of the land. I'm thinking, what kind of sense can this possibly make? In the first year on the first system we put in, we were looking, like we'd done with cedar pivots, we were hoping to get 20-25% increase in yield. In that first system we put in, we actually went from 1 bale to 3 bale cotton on 3 gallons a minute an acre. And I was like, well, something's wrong here. Let's start looking at this a little closer. And the more we looked at it, what we found out was a lot of the water that we were wasting in both in application efficiency and deep percolation losses, we were able to move those into the plant and produce crop from them. And then through the years, after learning how to manage the systems, we've actually come across a few things that actually help us to in some cases, cut our water use. I know that was an issue in some of the conversations this morning, but to cut the amount of water we were using, maintaining the yields, and trying to help the growers actually achieve their maximum economic yield, not pumping all the water that you can, but trying to make it as profitable as you can. Originally, my topic was going to be on problems, and then this morning I looked at the deal and it was on advantages, so you're going to get a little bit of both. Again, I am an Aggie. This one is in here for Cleon Mankin. This is my son. Engineering solutions in the drip irrigation business. Again, this is one of the first systems that was put in at any size down in the Lubbock area. What is drip irrigation? It's basically a production tool to precisely and uniformly deliver water, but not just water, also plant nutrients, protection chemicals, and the goal is to maximize, again, your yield with the minimal waste of inputs. One of the misconceptions with drip is that you can irrigate and fertilize the same way with my drip as with my surface system. The improved management that we get with drip, like Rusty was pointing out, we can actually give the plant nutrients and water based on the growth stage of the plant. And one of the things that I used to look at when I was at the water district is we had a pre-plant soil moisture survey, and our goal was to try to get that profile full before we started. But with a dwindling water supply and not being able to supply that demand, and then when you look at when our rainiest months, we generally, from middle of April to the middle of June is our rainy period of time. And if we pre-water and have a full profile going into planting, and then we get rainfall, that rain all ends up in a play lake someplace. If I can hold off as long as I can, as an example on cotton from planting to square takes 31 days. During that 31 days, if I have 3 gallons a minute an acre, I can put out 0.15 of an inch a day. And in 30 days, I can put out 4.5 inches of water. And that basically will it will more than fill the top 2 feet of the soil profile. And with a drip system, I'm only really concerned about that top 30 inches. So I can do a really good job getting that top profile filled in that 30 days without spending the money earlier that I may lose if I do get the rainfall. Again, thinking conservation, thinking profitability, and maintaining the aquifer and our resources. Another misconception is you can't apply enough water because you can't see it. I had a farmer ask me one time, he says, well, how come, I got this drip system in there, but I can't get it wet? And so I went out there and I just knocked about the top 2 inches off, and there's the water. He goes, I didn't even do that. I just never got rid at the top. So, well, we didn't really want to do it at the top. You know, that's a bad plant except for germination. In this case, it was corn, and we had water that he could have planted into it. And I asked him, I said, well, are you religious? And he goes, yes. I said, do you believe in God? He goes, yes. I said, have you ever seen God? Well, no. So you haven't seen God, but you believe in him. I said, this is kind of the same thing. You know there's God because you can see what God does around you. What you need to do is look at your drip system and look at your crop. If your crop's looking good, if it's not looking good in the morning when you get up, the drip system's working. It's a leap of faith. You can't see it, but just trust it. Look at the results. You'll see good stuff. One of the other things with the drip system is the uniformity. When I'm designing a drip system, there's 2 factors you look at: your distribution uniformity and your flow variation. Flow variation is what I deal with specifically because I want to know the difference between my lowest flow dripper in a particular zone and the highest flow dripper in the zone. And that's flow variation. I don't design systems typically that have flow variations less than 10%. And most of them I do, I'll try to stay in the 6 to 8% range. That just means that when I manage a crop at the front of the field or at the bottom of the field, I've got the same management plan. I don't have part of the field that needs picks if it's cotton. For growth regulation, it's part that needs to be defoliated in the same field. It all comes off at the same time. Really helps with management of the system. Another thing, and again, Rusty pointed this out, is putting out fertilizer. There's very few fertilizers or blends of fertilizers that we can't put through a drip system. I've used everything from a 526-33, which is an acid base, phosphoric acid that's got a little bit of nitrogen, to 100018, which is mostly acid and nitrogen, and then potassium nitrate late in the season for fruit growth. Again, and I also like Rusty pointed out, you have to use a good source, and you have to make sure and watch what you're doing with these fertilizers. Always jar test. Mix up the concentration in your well water you're going to use, put it in a clear jar, set it on the table, let it still tonight. If you have stuff precipitate out the bottom, you want to put that in the system. Again, drip is simply low volume water application, frequent irrigation, and I'm going to stress here, or several times a day. I've got systems in Lubbock County where we're watering 6 fouls at a time, and every acre gets watered 6 times every day. And that timing is critical, especially with cotton, because as long as we can keep that plant healthy without having to look for water or start stress, we get a lot better bulb retention, and we've got a lot of significantly improved yields.